Hour of AI. If you have not opened up Minecraft Education's new lesson that was just released literally yesterday, on November 12th, you're in for a treat today. If you have opened it up, then I hope this session, this workshop, will give you some great ideas of how you can be using agents in your class to help your students learn more about AI and how AI is used and all that you can do with Minecraft education. My name is Nathan Wells, and I'm excited to be with you today and talk a little bit more about Minecraft education, really looking at the power of AI and how the hour of AI is kind of being used this year instead of the hour of code. We're still using code, but the focus this year is on AI in general. So thanks for joining me. And these are fun ways that we can kind of stay connected after today. And I hope you do stay connected. I hope you share how you're using the power of AI, the hour of AI. I keep saying power. The hour of AI in your class. I hope you stay connected and find out more about our free webinars we do throughout the year. And we're doing them at least monthly, a lot of times twice a month. And we have those on our site, and I'll show more about that later. So right now, let's jump into today's content. We're going to look at the Hour of AI overview. So we're going to look at Minecraft Education's website. It's just education.minecraft.net. I'll give you a link in a second. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to look a little bit about the main lesson idea, but I just want to call out, if your point of coming to this session is, I hope he walks through the lesson step by step, it's not the point of this session. The point of this session is really to show you what there is, what's possible, and we're going to find it, and really how to be successful with it. And then I want to talk about extensions. I want to talk about the build challenge that comes with it, which honestly, I'm almost more excited about. The world is pretty fun, but the build challenge, I think, has long range opportunities that can really be helpful for our students. And you can use in all kinds of different situations, which I think is really fun and really meaningful for our kids. So that's where we're going with this session. And we're going to kind of jump in right away with talking through the lessons. So we're going to look at where they are and what you can do with them. If you would like to click through them as I am, feel free. You can use the Microsoft short link, aka.ms/hour, which is the capital H of capital A, capital I. And those do have to be capitalized for it to go through correctly. For those of you that are joining me live, I will put that in the chat. But the rest of you, if you are watching this later, just make sure that you capitalize those and it should work for you just fine. And then for those that are live, you can copy and paste those and put them in the chat or put them in your web browser. So I'm going to go to where that AKA link leads, and I'm going to open up one of the main lesson pages. And we're going to talk through how we're going to use our agent friend and how he's going to help us learn a little bit more about AI. And then we're going to look through the different teacher resources, kind of the questions that you can ask students as you're going through this. They even have some family questions, which I think is a great home connection to kind of bring it all together. And then what can students do, if they finish early, because you're going to have some kids that fly through this, especially your Minecraft players that are already doing, playing Java or Bedrock at home, right? Or on a game system even. They're going to fly through some of this. So how can you help them? And then also, what can you do after the hour of code or hour of AI, it's called this year? What can we do after that? So that's kind of where we're going. And I also have some resources for you. So that AKA link will take you to this page. So this is a Minecraft Education's main website. If you're with me today, I kind of assume you've already been here. If you haven't before, it's just education.minecraft.net. But that aka.ms/hour of AI will take you to this page. And on here, they have a fun little trailer that you can show with kids and you can share with parents even. And it talks a little bit about what you're going to be doing and what the whole point is. And if you've ever played Minecraft, especially survival, you know the whole idea is that as soon as you get in the game, you have to survive. You have to get through that first night, and that helps you set up your success for the rest of the time you enjoy playing. I used to play more when my kids were a little bit younger, and we would play together And that was always fun. It was always like, all right, we're in the first night. Like, are we going to dig? Are we going to build a house? How are we going to survive the first night and be safe away from the mobs? And so that's the concept here. But the idea is we get to use our coding agent and we're going to train him like we do AI, and he's going to help us prepare. So it's kind of a fun play on using the coding agent and the concepts of how AI is trained and then how AI can be used in real world scenarios. So I think it's a great concept. I love how they do it. So it kind of walks you through this page, what you can do, but I want to skip down to the resources. So this is where you can find some of the main resources, and or if you go to the lesson page, so I'm going to click on next, the Hour of AI, the first night, also has a lot of those same resources. So this is the trailer up here at the top. This link will open up Minecraft Education if you have it downloaded on your device. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to see those same files that were just in that other tab. So I'm going to click back to my other internet tab, and you'll see Facilitator's Guide, Hour of AI, stickers, solution guide, lesson plan, certificate. And that's what you're going to see here. Presenter slides. Did I say that? I don't see that here. Okay, I just caught that. So the presenter slides are kind of nice. I'll show those in a second. The solution guide is fantastic, especially for those of you that don't have time, maybe to go through the whole thing. And when a kid gets stuck, you have to like think through it, especially if you have kids that are trying to use Python, trying to use really use another language than just block, right? They're trying to use a coding language with that, which I think is a great transition for kids. And then over here on the left-hand side with all the Minecraft education worlds, they have these drop downs that help you see other aspects of the lesson. And a lot of the Minecraft education lessons, when you open them on the website, you're going to see teacher prep notes, right? A lot of this takes you to some of the same stuff that you have on the right. Not always, though. If you look at some of the other lessons, it's not always a repeat. Guiding ideas. I like the question they have here. How can fundamental AI concepts help us code the agent and mini agents to plan and execute tasks? So it's giving you core concepts and ideas to think about as you go through. Gives us some definitions. We're going to look at those in a minute. And then student activities. So it kind of walks you through what they're going to do. There's 6 activities they have to do to successfully complete this. And that's what this kind of walks through. And then it gives us some reflection questions, which we're going to come back to. And the build challenge, which is an external world. So those are kind of what you're going to find on this page. Now let's talk about some of these supporting files, because really if you're taking this as an educator and you're using it in your classroom, these are what you're going to want to go over and be prepared with. So let's look at the educator guide to start with. Every year, all of the lessons, every year's hour of code, and all the lessons that the Minecraft education team puts out that they are publishing. Now, when you do a search on the Minecraft education website, even in the game too, sometimes there's ones that are published in there that are community published, right? There are other educators that have built a great lesson they want to share with the world, which is amazing, but it doesn't always have the exact same supporting resources that you see right here on the right-hand side of my screen. So just be aware of that. So this educator guide, all the ones that Minecraft education puts out has that. Not all the ones put out by the community do. So I just want to point that out. So the educator guide has, and I've skipped down a little ways already, but let's say I'm on I think this is the 3rd task is collect wood, or 2nd task. From here, it walks you through it. Every task looks pretty similar. Let's zoom in a little bit more. It shows you what they're going to be doing in game. So there's a screenshot. It tells you what the student needs to be doing. And then it has some more screenshots to help you see what's going on in the game. So again, for you as an educator, or if you have a parent or a para-professional or somebody else that is helping you facilitate this in class, in the library, wherever it is, right? There's something that you can kind of watch, can look along with, and make sure you know how to help your students. I also want to call out here that for our younger learners, for our second language learners, if you notice, let me zoom in one more, this is all in English, right? And it's in white type. If Let me actually just grab a pen real quick, make it a little bit thicker. So right here is what I'm talking about. So this is white type. If though, I wanted to go down and I wanted to have my students either listen to it in their own language or just have it read aloud in English, especially for our younger learners, we always can click on what's called immersive reader. And this is in a lot of the Microsoft products and as well as in some of your LMS learning management systems, code.org, a lot of places. It has the little book and speaker. Anytime you see that icon, I highly recommend you click it. For those students that might need some extra support, it gives them text really big and easy to see. You can change the background color for those with eyesight issues. And it has a picture dictionary and allows it to be read to them. So I wanted to point those out. As we go through, it continues to have that. And this is where I think can be really helpful. It also has the solutions built into the guide. So it has those solutions built right into the educator guide in context, so as you're going through the lesson. But if you just need to skip through and have just a solution guide in front of you for each of the coding problems so you can see them quickly, that's what this separate document, you see I switched internet tabs. This is a separate document just called the solutions guide. I downloaded that from the lesson page. So I was first in the educator guide and now I'm in the solutions. From the solutions guide, I can skip around and find the exact challenge that they're working on. So train to craft sticks, or I can go down to upgrading tools, right? I can skip around and find the one that my students are stuck on. Most of them, honestly, this year, I feel like for the block coding are almost simpler than they have been in the last couple of years for Hour of Code. But when you look at Python, they can almost be a little bit more complicated because of spelling and making sure things are, the syntax and everything is correct. So it's kind of a neat kind of variable of what students are working on. I appreciate some complexity, especially for our students that need to be pushed a little bit, that maybe have an opportunity to work at a higher level and be pushed a little bit, which is kind of cool. This year, it's not, you know, go forward 1, left 4, forward 3, left 3, right? Like there's a little bit more variation to it, which I think is nice. Shows some other options and other points to coding, which is, I think, a great help for students, especially those that are getting into text-based coding. So that's where you're going to find your solution guide. And then, yeah, that's the main thing I think I wanted to show in the teacher guide. So this just helps us be able to find where we are in the game, what our students should be doing, any screenshots, and just helps you see what the students see. I feel like every year we get a little bit more detail in the educator guide, which is awesome. The Minecraft team is hearing feedback and doing a great job with that, which is super helpful. So again, I'm going to go back to my internet tab that shows the Hour of AI lesson. So I'm back on this main internet tab. And when I scroll down, it tells me a little bit about it. And then on the right-hand side, I have these supporting files. And I've been mostly showing you the educator guide. And then we looked at the solutions. And it has block and Python right next to each other. And if you've not seen before, you'll see it when a student or you try it. You can actually switch back and forth between that block-based and text-based coding right in the game. So that is one of my favorite features for students that are kind of ready to start exploring text-based coding. In this instance, Python, but they're not real confident yet. They can switch back and forth and have that extra support, which I just have always really appreciated about using this and using MakeCode in general. Okay, so that's kind of the basic to help you kind of go along with it. The other one is the presentation deck. So let's look at that quickly. The presentation deck is for you to help your students. So this is to present in class, right? This is for you to present in class. Helps you, gives you some discussion questions, some things you're going to be doing, vocabulary words, especially for younger learners, right? Even mid to upper elementary. I was talking to my 5th grade son about this, and he wasn't sure what orchestration had to do with it, right? He thought of orchestra because his sister's in band. So we talked about that. So I think having these vocabulary words and putting them together and how it ties into AI and coding is really helpful discussion. It does have that video trailer, and then it kind of jumps in and helps students know what to look for, and what they should be doing. So really great. So it doesn't have every screenshot, right? Like the educator guide does, but it helps them have the main things that they need to be expecting. And then here are those 6 tasks. I saw a post on social media that had nothing to do with the Hour of AI lesson, but I thought it applied well. So our friend Matt Miller with Ditch That Textbook, he teaches Spanish part-time, and he posted for a sub, he made these little cards that had a checklist for while he's out with his sub, that what he's leaving as sub plans is this checklist for students to do. And so that's what the sub's going to hand out to all the students. They're going to have their checklist, and that's what they're going to turn in. You could do the same thing with this. So maybe instead of students turning in their final world, you walking around the room and looking at what they finally built, you could create just a little check card. Or maybe they do it digitally in Canvas, Microsoft Teams assignments, whatever it is. They could either turn in a screenshot, or maybe they turn in, their checklist. Did you go through with the agent and collect wood, make tools, build a shelter, a door, a light, and a bed, right? And then maybe also include in there then, as we go through, so here's the action items they have to do, all of these pieces, what I was trying to get to, because each of these has action items as you go through. Action items, action items. So you could put all those in there, right? And let's be honest, you get this PowerPoint. This is an editable PowerPoint. This is copy and paste. So if you wanted to copy and paste that, you could. But then the main thing I wanted to get to was the reflection questions. So then you could add these in as well and have students type these out. So this could be like Book and Quill, where they do it in the game, and then they turn in a PDF at the end. Or you could have them do this just in your normal learning management system, your LMS you always use. So I wanted to throw that out there as an idea. I thought that was kind of a helpful way to do it. There is a certificate when they're done that you can have them download. If you do printing in your school, I know some schools are tight on that. You could print them or otherwise you could upload it and have them share it at home, which is kind of fun. And then there is a build challenge, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a moment. So when we look at the educator resources, I called out a couple of things that I felt were really helpful as I went through this year's resources and found things as I played the level, as I played the lesson this year and went through it myself that I thought were really helpful. The other thing I'll call out for this year's is when you go through, there are some great, not there, there are some great moments in the game where, in the lesson, I should say, where the agent is asking you, hey, help me learn this. And what I love about that is this idea, and I think this is a good way to phrase it with our students, is to help them understand, hey, you are the teacher. You're facilitating, you're teaching this agent how to complete their task. So it helps them have some ownership over this, like, hey, you have a big job to do. You're teaching the AI, your agent, how to complete this. If you don't teach it correctly, it's going to get in trouble and it's not going to be able to complete its task, right? If you don't teach it how to build the door correctly, you're not going to end up with a door. If you don't teach it how to find coal, it's not going to be able to help you build a light, right? A torch. So it's kind of a neat little way to turn the main role we usually think about for students. Because in years past with Hour of Code, they would fly through like left, right, forward, back, right? And they would just fly through the puzzles. This year, it takes a little bit of a twist of like, no, you have some responsibility here. You're teaching it. So I thought that was a cool piece to think through. The other thing that the team did this year is they created these messages to families. So I thought this was really helpful. I think there's always ways that some of us communicate. Maybe we send home a newsletter to families weekly or monthly, depending on what age you teach. I taught secondary, middle school, and then high school, so I didn't always do weekly. But for elementary, I know my own kiddos have gotten weekly newsletters in elementary. If you have an opportunity, I would highly recommend sending something home, especially that week, or the time you're doing this with students so that they can have these discussions at home. Talk about what they learned, why they learned it. It helps parents enter in to what's going on at school, helps them feel included, help them understand a little bit what's going on. I know some parents I've talked to now that I'm not in the classroom anymore, when I'm going to school with my own kids and going to parent teacher conferences and all the things, curriculum nights. Sometimes parents just don't know how to talk to their kids about what's going on at school. So I thought these were great messages and great opportunities for you to send something home. So, hey, we participated in this. Ask your students how they used code to survive the night. So not only is your parents being able to talk to their kids about what they did, but they can also enter into a little bit of like, oh, my kid actually really likes Minecraft. This helps me relate to a game that they love and something educational. So you're tying in these two things together that sometimes parents struggle with, of like this game that students love and can spend tons and tons of time in, and now also with a learning opportunity. So I thought that was a really great opportunity to think through how we might be able to do that. So I'd encourage you to check out these direct messages. Come up with your own, of course. You don't have to use these. But I thought it was a good thought and a good thinking exercise to see these and to craft your own based on that. So I thought that was a really good idea. So we looked at the main educator page. There is, I also should mention, there is a free version of this. So if you don't have Minecraft Education already in your school on your students' computers, they can download it, use it for free just for this activity. You can't do it for all the lessons, but you can for this activity. If you have Minecraft Education already, you can always search up at the top and find even more lessons. So if I type in just AI, I'm going to come up with all kinds of lessons that have to do with it. And you'll notice the main ones that pop up, I shouldn't say the main ones, the first ones that pop up say challenge. And these are actually some of my favorite activities to do with students. A, when I'm first introducing them to Minecraft, because they're short, quick things to do, or B, teachers who are new to using Minecraft in their classrooms and aren't sure how it fits, aren't sure where to go with it, or aren't comfortable with it. Use a build challenge. These are so easy. Students own it, and then they just send you the very end product. My absolute favorite one is the one right in the middle of my screen called the Minecraft book cover. And this one is where and it's in the in-game library as well. They open it up, all that is in the world. Literally the only thing students can do, open a chest, get some colorful blocks, and there's this ginormous book, just brown book sitting there. And students, the task is to go up there and to decorate, to create a book cover. They can do words, they can do pictures, and there's no prompt. That's it. And so this is where you can speak into that. I was social studies, a history teacher. So I could, use something we were doing in history, a book they had read, or some research they had done, and I can ask them to then create a book cover based off what we just did, or the character, the theme, the setting, etc., and have them do that. Well, there is also, when they finish the hour of AI, there is a AI build challenge that's new this year. And this AI build challenge, I just downloaded it for the second time, is pretty fun. So it uses the same concept of the other build challenges where it's very focused. They're not going to go off and get lost in the world. It's very narrow in where they can go. So it keeps them kind of contained. But then you have control as the educator over what you want them to do. It just gives them the space and gives them some tools. And then what do you want them to do with it? So it gives you right here, you can see on my screen, here's the PDF that gives you the prompts. So option one is use the ready-made prompts. So Minecraft Education gives you some ideas. So smart farming agent, the night guardian, and it gives them some like, hey, train your AI agent to do this. Echo cleanup, health, traffic, right? Or maybe you have you and or your students create their own challenge. This is where it starts to become fun. My idea, the way I would probably do this is I would do, depending on what kind of time I had, the ready-made challenge first, so they see how it works. And then I would have us as a class or in small groups create our own challenge. Now they're owning it. They're being creative. They're coming up with something that they enjoy, something that's practical. I like this here, choose a real problem, an issue in their school or community that it needs solving. How are we going to define the agent's role? So you could put all of these in your assignment, have students work on writing first. So you're going to write out the build challenge. And I really like the small group idea, especially teaching middle school like I did for the longest time when I was in the classroom. I would have them work in small groups, create a build challenge, get it approved by the teacher, and then share it with every other group. So everybody gets to try everybody else's build challenge. So now we have a collaborative group environment where we're all playing in Minecraft, working on each other's build challenges and seeing how we follow directions, how there's clear goals or not clear goals, right? And we could give that peer feedback and have a rubric around that. I think those would be really fun. So here's where you see those in here. It gives you some tips around using it and how it works, how you could set this up, and ways that they can improve it and work on it. So I love that they built this in to this year's Hour of AI. They haven't done this in the Hour of Code in the years past, and I think it's a fantastic addition. And I think this is something that you could do very easily in your class. And what is great about it is you could do it as an extension. You could do it as those students that get done early, or as I kind of described, you could do it as a whole class thing, the week of, or in January and March, right? Like whenever you needed it, you could bring this back out because it is a standalone world. As you scroll down, I'm on page 6, it looks like, of 9. It gives you some ideas for different grade band categories. And so if you're not in the US, K2, that would be from like 5 to 7-year-olds, 3 through 5, that would be like, and I'm not giving, the ages can be a little bit off, but think like 8 to 10-year-olds, 11 to 13, 14-year-olds and beyond, right? So that's where you could kind of take these and your students, right? Do you know that they could handle this, or do you think that really this one would be more appropriate for them? So just look at these ideas and think about how those might work for you and see the other ideas they have here. So I love that idea. I thought that was really helpful and a way that you could take this really fun, cute lesson that they've created this year on the first night. And it is the most unique one they've created yet for this Hour of Code week, now called the Hour of AI. And made it into something a little bit more fun. This first night concept, for those of us that have played Minecraft a lot, it really kind of resonates, gets kids kind of, I think they'll be really excited about this. It's kind of fun. We get to use our little agent friend, which is really fun. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Give you, more than anything, some ideas. That's really been the point of this, is to give you some ideas, some ways you can use it, and some extensions, some things you can do beyond this week, this day, this first time you use it. And you can always come back and do more. Love to stay connected with you. Again, I'm on socials at Nathan Wells on LinkedIn or EdTech Wells on the other platforms. You can also use the link tree on the screen right now to connect with Digital Labs. Love to be a part of what you're doing, to hear how things worked, and hopefully I will hear from you soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.